Hi, I am jumping on live because on Memory Art Girl because I'm doing an interview with Cherie Harte for the Riverdale Art Walk, which will be going virtual and a few tent tour show this weekend on Saturday. And so I'm waiting to hear from Cherie Harte, who will join me on this platform. And then I'll talk a little bit about the Riverdale Art Walk, which we are both participating on this weekend. The virtual show is opening on the 18th, and the tent tour, which is a small group of tents that'll be in Toronto set up, will have a few different artists as part of it, and Cherie will be part of that. So she's going to join me, hopefully, and talk to me a little bit about her work, and hopefully she'll show up soon. The show is about 100 people, and if you go on the riverdaleartwalk.ca, you will see almost 100 artists showing a specific group of pieces that are just for the show. And in conjunction with that, we've got a few tents that will be setting up at the Alchemy Art Center, which is on Laird, just off of Laird. And the details are on Riverdale Art Walk. There's a map. And we're not the only group of people. There are several other little pods and tent tour in the Toronto area. And hi, Cherie. So she's joined me. And then Cherie Harte is one of the ones who will be participating in this and showing us her beautiful artwork. So she's asked to request, and we'll just have a little chat. The show is quite exciting because we're doing quite a bit of marketing for it. Hey, how are you? I couldn't get on the little technology glitch. I was like, oh my goodness, Riverdale is not letting me on. So here we are on mine. So we'll move it over to the Riverdale Art Walk when we get it done. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So you've got a lot of things going on because you are moving and out of the city, cashing out, going into the big wilderness.
Yeah, so it's been our plan for a while. Once our big kids launched into post-secondary, that we would leave the city, and a property came up that spoke to us. And so I moved 2 weeks today. So yeah, it's a little bit crazy, and it's kind of an across province move. Like we're almost going all the way to Quebec. So
right.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. But you're showing this weekend, right? At the little tent tour that we're doing?
I absolutely am. I'm really excited to, I'm excited to be out and sharing my work and have it breathing and living outside of my studio walls, and then to be with such a great group of artists. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
So yourself included.
Yeah.
And it'll be nice to see you, even though we can't hug, which is going to be so hard, but it'll be nice to see you in person at least. So,
yeah. It's so funny. I've been dealing with Zoom all winter, and when I meet up with people in real life, if I meet them for the first time on Zoom and I meet them in real life, they go, yeah, it's me. I'm like, oh my goodness, like you're so much taller than I expected. So odd. Anyway, so tell us about your work. You're revealing a new series of pieces, the Riverdale Art Walk.
Yeah, so I think what I realized partway into COVID was that, a lot of my work centered around people, and it was figurative or portraiture, very abstracted and expressive, of course, but I think what started to happen was as I wasn't with people as much, my work started to evolve a little bit more, and it was already evolving before COVID, in that I was bringing in different like still life aspects and drawings and painting into my work. So now it has this really it's very layered and very textural. And there's a lot going on underneath, which has always been kind of the feeling of those old worn walls that have billboard after billboard after billboard. So there's stories and stories and stories. And then there's this, I guess, minimalism, and a lot, I'm using a lot more white and a lot more still life, and allowing myself to be inspired by nature and our garden and just other aspects of life, other than still infusing the energy work into it, but yeah, but more inanimate objects, I guess, and bringing those to life.
Right. There's always a process of like, how do you feel about, well, I work similarly, right? So you create this beautiful underlayer, and then you have to sacrifice it and find out what your anchor image and what your story is. How do you feel about that? Like, how do you release that? Do you have problems doing that, or do you just let that flow and go, okay, this is my next step?
I let it flow. I really, even when I'm in the studio working and I get to a point where I'm like, this could be a finished piece, but for me, it doesn't have the resolution that I'm looking for because it doesn't have the depth. So I'm okay continuing to paint until I feel that it has the depth and I've developed the story of the piece a little more. And I find the pieces that I don't do that with, I'm not, you know, in a week, I'm not happy with them.
Right. Yeah. So it's the resonance of it, right? How it goes into that space, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
you
resonate with your work very much because you also are such a fabulous storyteller.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really speaks to me. So.
Thanks, Cherie. It means a lot, actually. Telling stories is such an critical piece to our work, right? And I have this thing in my mind where I go, okay, I'm not going to make a plan. I'm just going to make something. And then I get halfway through and I go, okay, so what's the plan? And then I start to really, like, I figure I'm pretty connected to the universe, but I really start to kind of try and connect a little bit more to give me guidance, because I'm looking for the hook from what is the subconscious and this other level. So how do you work when you try and find your story of your work?
I am very much the same, I think, in that I have no plan. So I go to the canvas and I journal. So my morning is meditation and journaling. Okay. And I like to dive right into the canvas after that, because I find I've gotten out of my own head, and I am more tapped into the energy around me that is me and is not me all at the same time, less thinking and more heart-centered. And that's just a process. And then I might go back and do some journaling. Often I will actually add the journal pages so they're collaged into and onto the work. And it is just an evolution of being quiet and watching the work, and then being in action, and then standing back and allowing the work to guide me to where it wants to go.
Yeah, that's actually is fascinating. It's this embedding of the narrative within that comes from another place to put it within the space, right? Into your two-dimensional space. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just seems to come from a deeper place than what's on the surface.
There's really nothing like that flow, though, right? Like when you get that moment and you're in that space, it's that moment where I'm like, okay, yeah, that's why I've been doing this for 30 years. Because it's just, and then the piece comes out and you go, that's awesome. Like, look at that, right? Yeah.
And where did that come from?
Oh, where did that?
That's always, I'm like, how did this happen?
Yeah, exactly. It's like this other world. Yeah, for sure. All right. So, Cherie, I'm looking forward to seeing this weekend at Art Alchemy, which is it's a Research Road, I believe, in Leaside area. So there'll be 4 or 5 or 6 of us there. And then on the Riverdale Art Walk, there is a map of all other little tent pods. There's about 25 artists in total that have got little areas that they've set up. So have a look at riverdaleartwalk.ca for that. And you can see Cherie's work online in our virtual show, which starts June 18th. So get up bright and early to get first dibs on Cherie's work. And then you want to come and chat with her this weekend, come pop by, and protocols will be followed, and we'll still be there live in person, which is so exciting.
Yay! Yay! Thank you so much, Marjolaine.
Thanks a lot for chatting with me. Looking forward to seeing you.
Me as well.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.